Hello, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Also, don't forget to follow the Queen on Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur. You can also follow the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur fan page on Instagram and Twitter. And you can follow me on Twitter at DGoddess27. All right. Hello, Myth King. Moni, Stacy. All right, Cynthia, Courtney J, Queen Candy J is in the house. All right. Mr. Hotel, the undisputed queen has arrived along with the most nefarious chat in the universe. Thank you, beloved. All right, Pearly, I see you. Cherokee Descended Dale. Raya. All right, Pure Black is in the house. Juju, Monica. All right, so let's get into it. Silent G, Leo, Belinda, Berta, Denise, Daron, Jacqueline, V. Maltzby's in the house. Shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned in to the Queen. So let's get into it because there's another live coming up after this one on the backup channel, okay? So let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about this fight. Now, this grown man, 50 plus years old, I do believe, got into a fight with a 13-year-old kid. Okay? Got into a fight with a 13-year-old kid, and I'm going to go ahead and share the footage. I see you, Valentino. Everyone, please get those likes up. Please like and share. Go ahead and subscribe. All right. Hey, Del Monte Green Beans, D. Reed. Here we go. Likes up. I see you, Lillian.
Video from the Santa Clarita Valley where a middle-aged man got into a physical altercation with a 13-year-old kid. All this happening in a parking lot. The guy took off. The video of the incident posted on social media. Now the focus of an investigation.
So what happened here? Fox 11 Susan Hirasuna is live in Valencia. Susan.
I talked to the Sheriff's Watch Commander earlier today, and he says right now the investigation is still in its initial stages, and he was not able to tell me whether or not they've identified the man or whether they will pursue his arrest. Of course, when you see more of that video, you'll ask the question, why wouldn't you?
Hey, go get someone, yo!
What could have prompted a full-grown adult to fight with an 8th grader? The two grappling and rolling on the hot asphalt of a coffee shop Tuesday.
I did not know what to do.
Chase Duvall took the video that's now being circulated on social media. He and others say this all started at the convenience store nearby. Rio Norte Junior High School students regularly come here when school lets out. The students were crowding to get inside the store when the unidentified adult was trying to get out.
Back up.
In this new cell phone video, someone threatened to beat them all.
Or I'll beat all your
Cyro Carapadian claims a couple of students were shoved out of the doorway.
He just shoved me because I was in like the front of the line.
According to several students, the teen seen later in the fight video kept talking back to the man and dared the man to follow through on his threats.
Colin was like, yeah, do it. And then, you know, Colin was like walking over here. And yeah, the guy came back and then he started like fighting Colin, just ran up on Colin.
The fight turned into a wrestling match. At one point, the teen is able to get back on his feet, but the adult takes him down again. The fight was long enough to attract the adults in the coffee shop. Ricky Harmison pulled the adult off the teen and tried to keep the two apart.
He seemed slightly inebriated. He had kind of had the audacity to be mad that he was being kicked while he was on the ground while fighting a child, which is dumb.
Well, the friends of the teen victim say that he had a sprained ankle bad enough that it kept him out of school today. He also suffered abrasion injuries to his shoulder and elbows. Now, I reached out to the junior high school, and the principal sent me an email where it acknowledged what happened. And because they don't know what the motive was of that man, they asked the Sheriff's Department to keep an eye on the students. Reporting live in Valencia, Susan Hirasuna, Fox 11 News.
Now I want you all to pay attention because they said the police are talking about the man has been identified, but they don't say who he is. And they say that basically they haven't decided if they're going to press charges. Why wouldn't you press charges? And then pay attention. The news broadcaster said someone told the kids that they would beat their A's. Well, it was him, the man that was fighting. He's the one who said it. Okay, please. Who else said it? And at the end of the day, he had no business putting his hands on anybody's kid. That's just also ridiculous. He absolutely needs to be arrested. Why is that even a question? He was clearly the aggressor. The child said something back to him. He turned around and walked up and started swinging on the kid. That's what the witness said. So obviously he was the aggressor and the one that instigated the whole debacle. So he needs to be arrested. Like, stop trying to cover up for these Brads and Chads, honey. Take him to jail where he belongs. Okay? I mean, that's just all so crazy. But so, yeah, he wouldn't have run up on a grown man like that, I guarantee you. But they'll jump on some kids. And I want y'all to pay attention, because if you all remember, a couple of years ago, it was a 53-year-old man who punched this little black girl in the face. Do y'all remember that little biracial girl? He punched her in the face. She was 11. And then some people were going in on the kid, saying that she ran up on him. Well, yeah, she did run up on him. But she's 11 and she's a girl. So a boy shouldn't punch her in the face, let alone a 50-something-year-old grown man. Honey, it was black people even caping for him. Like, I don't know what's wrong with some of these Negroes. I absolutely cannot, because I thought that was also nefarious and clearly crazy. But anyway, what do I know? So anyway, let's continue. So meanwhile, there was a teenager shot dead in the woods of Alabama, honey, by a woman who was living in a so-called violent off-the-grid community. Now, see, I want y'all to pay attention. They're going to start using this as a talking point to say why they don't want people to live off grid. Because remember, Obama, when he was in office, said it's illegal to live off grid. Y'all remember that? And so a Florida college student was shot dead by an Alabama woman who was living off grid in the woods. Now, the shooting occurred on August the 14th when Adam Simji, 22 years old, and his girlfriend, Michaela Paulus, were driving near Chia State Park while on vacation when they pulled over to help what appeared to be a woman who needed help with a car. Now, after the woman later identified to be Yasmin Hyder, after she pulled a gun, Simji pulled out his own gun, leading to an exchange of gunfire. Okay, that left Hyder shot several times in her torso and Simji shot in the back. Now, the initial investigation revealed that a second black female suspect was present during the robbery and had fled the scene on foot after the shots were fired. So the second suspect was identified as Crystal Pinkins. So over the next several hours, sheriff deputies received information that they may be a group of people living off the grid somewhere in Talladega's National Forest. This group of people were reported to be armed and potentially violent, they say. So a tracking team organized by the police eventually found a large group of tents that had been set up in the Talladega National Forest and what appeared to be a base camp. Okay, the camp was located roughly 0.5 miles from the crime scene. When the law enforcement officers began approaching the camp, they observed another woman standing near the tents, according to the statement. Now, as officers were ordering the female to the ground, a 5-year-old child ran out holding a loaded shotgun. Honey, what kind of ghetto foolishness is this? A 5-year-old ran out with a loaded shotgun? So anyway, honey, clearly nefarious. Officers ordered the child to put the gun down, but the child kept running toward the woman with the gun before eventually putting the weapon down. Well, honey, thank God they didn't shoot the child. Okay, Pinkins was later identified as the child's mother. So the child was obviously running to give their mother the gun. Hyder and Pinkins were both charged with 1 count of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 2 counts of robbery, with Pinkins also charged with endangering the welfare of a child. Hyder is in a Birmingham, Alabama hospital as she recovers from her surgeries under the observation of deputies, while Pinkins remains in the Clay County Jail or Clay County Detention Center under bond. And they say the weapons used in the crime have been recovered, and the Department of Human Resources has taken custody of Pinkins' child. Heather Lampert, the mother of Paulus, said she is thankful her daughter's boyfriend had a gun and protected her daughter before his death, saying that I don't know how Michaela didn't get shot in all of that, but she had taken off her shirt to stop the bleeding, and she called 911 and was giving him chest compressions. She thinks he was alive for at least 20 minutes, but it took him at least 30 minutes to get there. Took them at least 30 minutes to get there. I don't know what would have happened if he hadn't had the gun on him. This is all so crazy. This sounds like a scene out of a movie. Paula's, who's 20 years old, wrote on social media that Simji had been laid to rest on Saturday. She said, "I'm so glad he had so much love surrounding him while he was returned back to the earth. I have no doubts I'll see him in the next lifetime. He was my soulmate and always will be." Oh, honey, that's all so sad. That's all so sad, honey. So obviously, Nicole said, "Say what now?" in the Queen's voice. Well, you know what? It seems to me like these women pretended they needed help and attempted to rob them. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like to me. Now I'm going to share my screen so you all can see the pictures of the young man that was killed. That's him right there, him and his girlfriend while they were on vacation, honey. And so that's all sad. That is all so sad, honey. You cannot be helping just anybody and everybody. People will set you up. People are clearly out here doing all sorts of things, depraved acts. So meanwhile, Jay-Z, Diddy, and Tom Brady, well, guess what? All these rich folk, they've been forgiven for their PPP loans. But some of y'all going to jail because Biden extended it for 10 years. Let's not forget. And so it says hip hop's wealthiest moguls reportedly won't have to pay back millions of dollars in PPP loans. Some of the richest rappers in the game have been forgiven for multi-million-dollar PPP loans, according to the Daily Mail. Some of America's biggest celebrities, including hip hop's wealthiest moguls like Kanye, Diddy, Jay-Z, they pulled out millions of dollars in PPP loans during the pandemic to help with their payrolls. New documents emerged revealing the exact amounts each celebrity pulled out, as well as their status. For the most part, the government forgave many of the loans pulled out by these celebrities. So they say Malibu Entertainment, which is one of two firms associated with Jay-Z, pulled out $2,106,000 to secure 95 jobs for Tidal. That amount was forgiven in total. Now, Armand de Brignac Holdings was also took out money, and they got $293,119 for payroll, though the status of the loan wasn't disclosed. And then as for Diddy, Revolt Media and TV LLC borrowed $1,929,000 for payroll, which went towards 134 jobs. The loan reportedly won't have to be paid back. Yeezy LLC took out $2,363,000 and $1,772,000 for the loans that was spent on 106 staff. But according to ProPublica, which published the status of every federal loan, that status is undisclosed. Another Ye-related subsidiary, Yeezy Schloss LLC, borrowed $15,625 for one employee. The amount was largely forgiven with the exception of $147. Now, I said all that to say this. I want you all to pay attention because what you have to now realize is that, in fact, these PPP loans were to help the rich people, obviously. They were to help the rich people, not the everyday working ordinary people. That was a setup. That was a setup because I guarantee you they looked a whole lot more closely under a microscope for those people who had smaller businesses and things like that who took out these loans, okay? That's just what it was. Now, it goes on to say that Tom Brady was also included on the list. His company, TB12 Incorporated, received $960,000 for 80 jobs. They were forgiven for the total amount plus $12,000 in interest. Khloe Kardashian received $1,245 for Good American LLC, which was distributed largely from payroll. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all see all these rich people? They're the ones getting these loans, and their loans are being forgiven, while the smaller people on the totem pole have to pay these back, and some of them are even going to prison. Pay attention. All right, and when Biden extended that amount for the investigations time to 10 years, well, you already know who that's disproportionately going to affect, as it was intended to in the first place. So this was not for the everyday citizens, honey. This is for the rich and wealthy to be able to keep their businesses going, not you all. Okay. However, the person on the list who received the biggest amount is Jared Kushner. Wow, really? Isn't that Trump's son-in-law? He was granted 3 loans that amounted to $3 million. The grants were forgiven in their entirety. And so, honey, while they sitting up here trying to lock up the rest of these folks, these people all got forgiven for their loans. I'm just wondering why they even needed to borrow the money for the loans, because Jay-Z and Kanye are billionaires. So that should say a lot right there. That money was meant for rich folk. Okay, that's who that money was meant for. It was meant for rich folk. Okay, Deronda said, sounds like agents to me. Well, I tell you what, yeah, Jared Kushner, absolutely. It is crazy. So, this just goes back to what I said to you all the other day. Just a few days ago, I told you all that the wealthy elite people that run this country, they want to keep the wealthy people wealthy, and they want to keep the regular, everyday, ordinary citizens who work 9 to 5s, who have small businesses, they want to keep their heels on your necks. And that's just what it is. They want to keep us at the bottom of the totem pole. Okay? That's just what it is. Specifically, Black folk, amongst others. But anyway, that's all so crazy. But that's what it is. So, now listen to this. Some North Carolina Republican says children below 5th grade shouldn't be taught anything about science and history in school. That's what they say. Now, wait till you hear why. So, now this happened on Monday. It was reported that North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, the highest ranking Republican in the state, called for eliminating science and history from elementary school classes. This is all so crazy. They just keep messing with the curriculum. Now, in his memoir, which is titled, We Are the Majority, The Life and Passions of a Patriot, according to the reporter Brian Anderson, Robinson is dropping more hints about a potential run for governor in 2024. And if elected, he says that he'd work to keep science and history of some elementary school out of some elementary school classrooms. He says he'd also seek to eliminate the State Board of Education, end abortion, and work to prevent transgender people from serving in the military. This is what he's saying, how to pay attention. Robinson said that he'd work to keep history, science, and a number of other subjects out of 1st through 5th grade curricula, and instead prioritize reading, writing, and math. In those grades, he says, we don't need to be teaching social studies. We don't need to be teaching science. We surely don't need to be talking about equity and social justice. Pay attention. Robinson also reaffirms personal views on climate change that became a major issue in the 2020 election, saying, guess what? Most of the people of North Carolina know global warming is junk science. That's what he said. Robinson, who's a former gun rights activist, was elected in 2020 along with Democratic Governor Roy Cooper, who was given a second term. Now, he has become highly controversial for some of his statements, including where he says that members of LGBTQ are devil worshipers, and said all types of nefarious things about them, honey, that I'm not even going to repeat. And then talked about transgender people, talked about them being mass delusion, designed to turn God's creation into an image of rebellion to glorify Satan. I mean, just a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Said that the Parkland school shooting activists are silly little immature media prostitutes. I guess that's the word he coined, prostitutes, like calling them toddlers, I guess. That Michelle Obama is secretly a man, that Muslims in America are invaders, and that the film Black Panther is a plot to grift money off Black people by the U's, while vehemently saying that anti-abortion, said he was also admitted that he once paid his wife to have one before they were married. But he's against it now, vehemently against it. According to his book, all of his past controversial statements, the only one he regrets is the Black Panther comment. Robinson said that he was actually trying to cite an obscure quote from Mel Brooks and didn't mean to have any anti-Semitic intent behind it. Let me tell y'all something, honey. This is all so crazy. What do y'all think about this? And then here he is right here. Hold on. Let me make sure this is him first. Let me make sure this is him, because I know I didn't see what I just saw. Everyone, please get those likes up. Okay. Well, wait till I show y'all his picture. I want y'all to see the picture of this clown. There he is. Can y'all believe it? Can y'all believe it? That's him right there. He's a block mod, like that little girl said in that video. And so, honey, that's him. Okay? And so pay attention. All right. Pay attention. All right, GL said he needs to go back to school. Honey, he needs to go back somewhere with all that foolishness that he's spewing. He clearly sounds crazy. And so anyway, so meanwhile, let me get into these lifelines. Okay, first of all, we have a missing woman. Family's desperate plea to find 24-year-old Atlanta woman continues. So let me pull that up. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Another missing person.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Savannah Louie. We have a lot to get to tonight, so we're going to begin with the ongoing search for a missing woman here in Atlanta. Friends and family of Ahmadiyyah Lenore gathered at Piedmont Park today searching for any clues. The 24-year-old was last seen on July 30th at a Midtown apartment. CBS 46's Yasmina Alston joins us live now with the latest. Yasmina, good evening.
Yes, Savannah, good evening. And Alania's family says they're not giving up until they find her. They've now even hired a private investigator to help in their search. This afternoon, they all gathered at Piedmont Park to help in that search. Alania's mom telling us they chose that area because a lot of young people hang out there and may be able to provide clues. The family says the 24-year-old disappeared under suspicious circumstances from an apartment at 1600 Peachtree Street in July. Her mom says she went to meet up with a girlfriend and two men. According to the family, Atlanta police are investigating the disappearance as suspicious, though police have released little information.
I want to say that I am grateful to everybody who's helped so far and who continues to help and support us. You know, I have a small child at home who still doesn't know that his favorite person in the world is missing. And I just don't even know how to begin to express that or what would be the proper words.
And Alania is 5'4" and 120 pounds. She was last seen in a blue shirt and blue shorts. If you have any information, you are asked to contact Atlanta Police. Live in Atlanta, Yasmina Alston, CBS 46 News.
Well, that is so sad, honey. People just getting snatched up off the streets. And I told you all down here in Atlanta, they're giving out those roses. Pay attention, because somebody tried to give me one the other day. I told you all about that with the fentanyl in them and all that stuff, honey. It's all so nefarious. So meanwhile, Lifelines, GM is recalling. Now, we had Ford with the F-150 Ford trucks yesterday, but today GM recalling over 484,000 Cadillacs, Chevy, GMC vehicles to fix seatbelt issues. All right. They say the seatbelts in certain of these vehicles, the rivet that retains the buckle to the mounting bracket in the left or rear third row seatbelt assembly may not have been properly formed during the manufacturing process. So in other words, the seatbelts don't work. Okay. So they're calling these back. Okay. So they said on May the 14th, a GM dealership received a customer report of a third row seatbelt buckle assembly that separated in a 2021 Chevrolet Suburban. The issue was submitted to the company's Speak Up for Safety program. So that all been said, honey, if you have any of those type of vehicles, you might want to check on them, because they're recalling over 484,000 of them for seatbelt issues. All right. And you know you need to be wearing your seatbelts. So it's also crazy, honey, all these recalls on food, vehicles, things for babies like the little rockers and all of that. I mean, it's just a whole bunch going on, honey. All right. You're welcome, Mr. Hotel Beloved. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Now I'm going live on the backup channel, okay, because a black man was awarded $4.4 million from Walmart in a case of racially profiling him. And so they had a Brad who was working for Walmart, honey, and Brad was always calling the police on folk and lying and just making up stories. And the police even admit this themselves. So anyway, I'm going to share the footage. And also the mayor says that 10% of Antioch Police Department is under investigation, honey. So we're going to get into it on the other channel. So that all being said, I hope to see you on the next chat. All right. Thank you all for tuning back in once again. Make sure you like and share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all. Also, don't forget to follow the Queen Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and you can follow me on Twitter at DGoddess27. You can also follow the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur fan page on Instagram and Twitter. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. Peace.
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make sense.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your
Ahmadiyyah.
skin?
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, given to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen. I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression